Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay on the road. I'm on the road. Day one of that tour. How are you?
Yes. Pardon?
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Feeling a little bit tired. I didn't have the best diet yesterday. I had some late night cheese snacking. So I'm just feeling a little bit rough. However, I have got the witch's brew going on this morning with peace and quiet, which is nice.
I can smell it from here.
Nice. Well, it smells fantastic to me. But yeah, I'm able to have the witch's brew in peace. Not necessarily some quiet, but at least I'm not going to be stinking out your side of the desk, which is nice. How are you? You are away.
I'm away. I'm in Whitecourt right now. Got up bright and early to be with you all today. And we had a great night last night. A very good night last night.
Fantastic to hear. Go share with the audience. Because I got debriefed.
Because we didn't have our stuff on the website for Elections Alberta on Friday or during the weekend. We weren't sure if canvassers would be able to show up to this event. Now, we're not relying upon canvassers to show up in order for people to show up. And last night proved that, because late yesterday, I checked the website, and there we were. We were on the website for Elections Alberta, sent it over to the good people at Stay Free Alberta, and got the thumbs up for going forward. They're going to ensure that canvassers are near our event. And last night, though, for the town of Whitecourt, we filled their, it looks like their town hall where they do their meetings.
Council meetings and such?
Yeah, the council chambers, probably the council chambers, so town council. And we filled it up. In fact, one of the people who showed up, he says, I've never seen it this full before. It doesn't get this full. And it was full. So we did a good job in our marketing, getting that information out there. Some people heard it on Facebook. Some people heard it on the show. And some people heard it word of mouth. So it was great to see that place fill up the way it did.
Good stuff. I'm glad that the town of Whitecourt turned out, get some information. How was the Q&A?
Lively, great. Lots of good questions. Everything from Canada as a corporation to what happens with the pension to what currency. So very similar questions we get all over the place. But no, they're very receptive, listened very good. Dr. Hodgkinson and Kathy crushed it, absolutely crushed it. I'm very honored to be standing up there with them. Both their speeches were fantastic. Hodgkinson went a little bit long. He's a doctor. He's on his own time schedule. But it was good. The audience enjoyed it. The mingle laughter was very exciting as well. A lot of people came by and said, hey, like the show. Thanks for being here. Some people came up and said, I never knew you existed. Give me a card. We'll be watching you. So it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, wonderful. And there's a comment here from Christy. Great night last night. Worth the hour's drive. Thanks for turning out.
Thank you, Christy, for coming. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm not sure where you came from, but I like Whitecourt. It seems to be a really nice town. Very good people here. The venue was amazing, like really, really good. I got the key to lock everything up. We did that on the way out, but it was a good turnout. And I met the chapter leader for Stay Free Alberta and some of his folk. Excellent people. Whitecourt, you're in great hands. So stay tuned for other events. I believe they mentioned they have a permanent signing location. So go check stayfreealberta.com to find that location and get your signature on that petition. But several people did manage to get their signature on the petition last night. And we had about 70 people show up.
Nice stuff. And there it is, stayfreealberta.com to find out for signing locations near you. Why don't we share what we did yesterday morning before you set off?
What did we do? We changed the sign. I know that. For
we went to go see the signing location in Drayton Valley.
Oh, yeah. We stopped by Pat. She has a permanent location. So if you're in Drayton Valley and you're on Cowboy Trail driving east or west, the south end of the city, so you come down 50 right at the intersection there, the lights there, you'll see Pat's
the main entrance into Drayton.
Well, one of the two main entrances, because there's a north one as well. But the south entrance to the city or town of Drayton, you'll see her big black gate. It's got an Alberta flag kind of in the gate. She got Alberta flags all over the place, a big signing location here. So yeah, we pulled in to say hi to Pat, and it was a really great conversation. And it was a good thing that we were there too, because she had slightly old information, and we got to
Mm.
update on that information so that when she's sharing stuff with people, she's got the more accurate stuff. Because there was that rumor that went around starting Friday that Elections Canada was going to interfere with the dates, try to push it back to April 6th with an injunction. That was not true. So that information went out online and in signal groups all over the place. Elections Canada actually responded and said, nope, we're not part of anything. We are federal. We don't touch provincial or municipal. So they came out with a statement to address that information that was being shared. And then I double checked if Elections Alberta was doing anything. They're not. It was a mix of information, because what actually is going on April 6th is First Nations court injunction that they're fighting for. The court will decide whether or not it proceeds or is quashed at that stage. So April 6th, it's not even a decision on whether or not the First Nations injunctions kick in. It's a decision on whether or not to start to hear arguments. So there's going to be no interfering with the petition dates, because it goes all the way to May 2nd. That's on our badges. That's on the website. That's a set period. That's going to happen no matter what. But the injunction from the First Nations groups decision could come later or could be quashed on April 6th. So she had the old information, and I just updated her on that as well. Pat's a wonderful woman. So if you want to sign, swing in there, say hi. She'll be happy to take you. And if you want to sign up as a canvasser, she'll even get you started on that process.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's what the gentleman who was, when we arrived, who was signing, was looking to do as well. So well done. We are growing in numbers, not only in signers, but the canvassers as well.
Yep. And he even made the comment, if it was not for this location taking his signature, he wouldn't be able to do it because his schedule is so crazy. And it was just great to be able to pull off the highway, pull into the driveway, and sign. And she has water there and coffee there, so you can even stop by and chit-chat with her for a bit.
Yeah, no, it was an excellent setup, and it just shows what some people are doing, taking time, literally time out of their day to dedicate to this movement. So well done, and thank you very much to Pat for doing that, for sure.
Yeah, so south end of Drayton Valley, if you're in Drayton Valley or passing by, she even has room for trucks to turn around.
Yeah.
So if you're a trucker, you can pull in there too. There's a very wide driveway. There's room to turn around. So if you want to get it done on your way, that's a good location to get it done.
Yep. No, it is. Excellent. And I was really pleased to take the time to meet her. Now, you have a busy day today, because we've got a comment here in our locals. Good morning from freezing Manitoba. Looking forward to the interview on Manitoba Stronger Together this evening. Going to share about that?
Yep. So that's going to be, I believe it's 5:30 my time, 6:30 Central, and 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be with Dan and Dean about the movie, the Sharon Hartman's story. So I'll be joining Ken's call there. Ken Drysdale, your second on the road husband for the show, co-host husband, as you call him. So yeah, we'll be doing that. And also after this interview with David Knightleg, we'll be getting ready for Truth Talk with Corey and Alan Huntsberg, and be on there as well with Dan and Dean as we talk about Sean's story and the documentary that's coming out next week.
Yeah, and then while you go ahead and talk about the dates that we've got coming up, I'll just pop up here for those who want to buy tickets or donate to give support for Dan. You have supportsean.ca.
Yep. So the first showing is going to be in Barrie, Sunday, February 8th at 3 p.m. So go check the website, grab yourself some tickets, grab a friend, bring them as well. This is a fundraiser for Dan. So after expenses, funds will be heading to Dan to go ahead and contribute to ensuring that he keeps his fight going. He's got 2 legal battles he's fighting, and his income doesn't support that. It's a generosity of the community. You can also donate directly on supportsean.ca to his Give, Send, Go, the one that we're all familiar with. You'll see that link everywhere, but you can get to it pretty quickly from supportsean.ca. February 9th, 6 p.m. will be at Bikers Church in Ottawa. February 10th will be in 6 p.m. as well. We'll be in Peterborough. February 11th, we're going to be in, I believe this one's Whitby. Yeah, so grab your tickets for that one too. There's plenty of room. It's going to be a good showing there. And all of them except for Ottawa, Dan is expected to be there. He's planning to be there. February 12th, we're going to be in Hamilton at 6 p.m. as well. Yeah, 6 p.m. And then the last one will be in Oakville at 6:30 p.m. On February 13th, Friday the 13th. So come and hang out with us on Friday the 13th as we screen this movie or documentary to Ontario. Then I'm coming back. I'll be flying on the 14th, which is my birthday, and go see my family for one night, maybe two. And then I'll get back on the road again for Alberta as we're starting to plan out the locations for the screening of this movie documentary.
Yeah, and I think, is that not the long family day, long weekend as well, or is that the weekend this weekend? No, that can't be.
I think it might be a long weekend. Yeah, because I know Alberta has Family Day. Not every province does, but Alberta does. And I might take that week off and then book a bunch of things for the next week and be really busy getting that documentary out to you. Because
Monday. Go on.
No, starting back in March, we're planning out more Alberta Talk, Independence Talk tours with several great people. So March is going to be full of those as we make our way to April 11th, which is our next big date in Red Deer, as we talk about political action, and we have political action takers take the stage and share their stories with us.
Yeah. And yes, Monday, February 16th is Family Day long weekend. So
okay, so we probably will take that week off. I could probably use the time to recharge. And then make the next week maybe a full 7 days running around Alberta, bringing that documentary to people.
Yep.
But we'll do that in February. We'll get the screening in Alberta done in February.
Yeah, so we also stay posted onto that, folks. But yeah, all right. What news do we have to share, my love?
We got lots. We're still catching up from the weekend. So here we go. 4 years ago, this was on February 1st. Dr. Shoemaker spoke out at the Freedom Convoy and called out everyone for their COVID and shot BS. He was attacked then and forced into early retirement for his efforts. And today, everybody knows he was right. Thank you, Chris. You are a great man. If you listen to this speech, it's like, yeah, well, we all know this now. But 4 years ago, this was considered surprising to a lot of people to hear a doctor talk like this. A lot of people understood what was going on, but to have a doctor step forward. And for his troubles, the college went after him. He didn't lose his license, but he did go into retirement. So thank you very much to Dr. Shoemaker, and he'll be on tour with us starting in Ottawa, and he'll join us at the other locations as well.
Yeah.
Good man there.
Good guy. I'm grateful to have met him.
Yeah. Corey Morgan here. He found a confessional on the Bombay beach. He's on vacation right now, and he sat and confessed that he is an Alberta sovereignist. And I felt compelled by his confession to also confess that I too am an Alberta sovereignist. I stand for my children's future. How about you? And what I did here is I posted the definition of sovereignist so people can understand it. A sovereignist is an advocate for the political independence, self-governance, or enhanced autonomy of a nation, region, or territory, aiming to take back control from central, federal, or supranational authorities. Primarily associated with the Quebec sovereignty movement, it signifies a preference for political, economic, or cultural autonomy. So when the media labels us all as separatist, that's not really what we are. We're sovereignists, because what we're doing is we're fighting for autonomy and self-governance, self-determination. And if that leads to a separation of the current federal system, and then that's what happens. But what we're looking for is sovereignty. So at this stage, it looks like the only path to sovereignty is to secede from Canada using the legal path of the Clarity Act and the Supreme Court decision, which is legal in Canada. And it's one of the few nations that do allow that.
Yeah, two things there. So I actually had a conversation with a woman at church because both she and her husband are still looking at getting information. And and so when she introduced me to her husband, says her and her husband, you know, they are wanting to separate. They're separatists for about what? Like, no. It was fighting for sovereignty here. And I did that. I kind of explained the difference between us. And she was like, oh, okay. And then she says, yes. Yeah, so the movement is sovereignty. I said, yes, it's not separation, but here there's the added bonus. And for those who online, because I'm loving these online comments, who are saying this is treasonous and you're just trying to break up Canada and it's never going to work because they're not going to allow it. The fact that the mechanism is there in place means that they have put it in place so that it could happen should it be required to. And right now, Albertans feel it's required to. So there's a lot of people just think, how can you do this? Because it's there. We have the ability to. The paperwork's there. Someone already created it. So that's a lot of things that some people either choose not to hear or just are flat out ignorant to, or that they're not aware that, no, we're not breaking the mold here. There's paperwork in place, there's the rules in place, we've got the Clarity Act. It's there for a reason, and we have a reason to use it.
Yeah, your little comment there is we're not going to allow it. That's definitely the attitude of many. And that's kind of
Yeah.
why we want to get out of this, because you consider yourself the authority of us. When we talk about taking back control, that's exactly what we're talking about. The East definitely feels like they own us. We never voted to join Canada. We were colonized. We were just purchased this land. So, no, that attitude of we won't allow it is exactly why we want to take sovereignty seriously, because there's a lot of things that they won't allow, which makes life out here more difficult when we can be very prosperous. So that's the exact attitude.
And yes, Kim, you caught that word allow. The notion that we need permission drives me nuts. Yeah, people.
Yeah, Kim, I'm with you 100%. Even when Paula said it, and I love her, but when she said it, it echoes everywhere else where we're hearing that. Jen Arden came out hard on that one. We're not going to allow you to leave. And then she put like her fists up or something like that. I'm like, good luck with that. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, no.
All right, so let's move on. Yeah. Rise of Alberta. David's right. This only works if people step up. One of the most important things you can do for Alberta independence is become a canvasser. So he's referring to David Evie, which says you need to stand up and stop this stuff, and they're traitors, and we need to stand up to them. They're partly right, yeah. It only works if people stand up. So that was one of the things that came out of the meeting last night was we need to be more courageous. And this came from an audience member who said, we need to be more courageous. More people need to stand up. And I said, look at this room. You guys are doing exactly that. And the whole point of these meetings are to equip you with information so that you can go and talk to those other people who didn't come to the meeting that and go ahead and have conversations with them. But courage is definitely needed, and courage is courageous. So good to see that.
Yeah.
So I put a post here. Join me in the 2,000 plus others who already got their canvasser badge from Elections Alberta. It's an honor to be part of history. See you on the front lines in this movement. Now, we know that the number's over 2,000 because they're sequential. So there's a number on the front and sequential. I met number 1, and now I've seen badges over 2,000. I know at least 4,000 people have been vetted and are in the process of getting their badge. And I know that they're still doing dozens, if not hundreds, of applications a day, vetting them, getting them ready for Elections Alberta.
Yep. No, that's fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for stepping up.
Now, this one caused some unnecessary controversy because it's just a factual statement. Rachel Parker highlighted that journalists like me and her were not able to get to the Conservative Party of Canada's convention. We tried to get access as media. I don't know what her story is, but mine was they never responded. So I shared my story, and it says here, 2 years in a row, I received a media pass for the UCP AGM and even had Premier Daniel Smith on the show a couple times. After contacting the CPC Media Relations for a media pass, I didn't even get a courtesy no. Nothing. It's a bad look. But hey, I don't believe the federal government works for us. This is just more proof I'm right. Now, the pleb of all people decided to come at me and make this all personal. He's like, give your head a shake. You ran for the PPC. I'm like, well, thanks for confirming that they're filtering people based on their political beliefs. And then there's some more back and forth. Well, you could have bought your way in, or why do you think you deserve to be there? And I don't. I'm media. The whole point is I am an accredited journalist in Alberta. It's recognized across Canada. And you should be filtering media. I think that's a really bad look. But CBC was there. There were some liberals there. So there's a pick and choose on who's going to be there. Rachel is just highlighting that she's also a journalist who wasn't able to get a media pass. I'm just highlighting I didn't get a media pass when I asked for one. I didn't even get a response. And I think that it's just a bad look. But this is not the first time. During the election campaigning, even Shadow Davis was barred from the Winnipeg gathering for Pierre. So the conservative parties, they say they're open to conversation. They believe in free speech and the media and that kind of stuff, but not really. Okay, not really.
Yeah.
And no, I don't feel like I'm entitled to be there. And that's what some of the posts and stuff. But I am a journalist. I am in Alberta. I do talk about the conservative movement, and I'm very unbiased. Like I would be representing the media there, not my personal political beliefs. And this was an interesting one to be at because they did a lot of passing of the policies, and some of them really came off bad. But I'm not sure why the pleb made this all controversial, because my statement is factual. I asked and I didn't get one.
Yeah.
But I think the conversation with him ended when he said I should go pay $1,000, and I said, well, how much did you pay? And I didn't see a response to that, because we know that he got a free pass, just like all the other journalists and media,
Exactly.
influencers. They all got a free pass to be there. Doesn't allow you to vote. If you want to vote, you have to be a delegate, but it does allow you to observe and report. And Rachel here and myself didn't get one.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's others. There's even a gentleman who paid to be there, and they didn't let him in because they classified him as a separatist. And then some people highlighted that Jeff Rath was there. Yeah, Jeff Rath was there, but he also paid. And he's not media. Yes. He's not accredited media. This whole post is about filtering out certain media from being there, and I think that's a bad look.
Yeah, I would agree. And as Kim Walter says, what are they afraid of?
Yeah, well, the information got out. CBC was there. They had mainstream media there, no problem. We all know what's going on, though. Two wings of the same bird. They all work together. They're not going to like truth, like actual truth. And that's one thing I posted on Rachel's side of thing, is that we've been too honest about them and the weak leadership of Pierre. Well, I got some bad news, though, for Alberta. So sorry, everybody, you have to hear this, especially if you're driving. Take a moment, make sure you're okay. But the NDP voters say they're going to leave Alberta if independent vote succeeds. So sorry. You might lose a couple of those neighbors that fly weird flags and yell at you and tell you what you can and can't do. Some of them are saying they're going to leave if Alberta votes to secede. And my post here is not that you really need another reason to get behind independence, but this will be icing on the cake. What a beautiful nation of Alberta we will have. Here's hoping the unions follow them as well. Go ahead and take the unions with you. But yeah, I'm sorry to say that you might have a couple neighbors that want to leave Alberta when we have our sovereignty.
Yeah, and I think we were speaking to some people a couple of days ago. I'm not sure if it was at church, but you made the comment that with some people leaving and some people wanting to move to Alberta, it'll be like a prisoner exchange. Yeah. We'd be happy to let them go, and then we'll bring some people back to Alberta or new to Alberta, but who want to be here. Please come.
Kathy made a good point yesterday, because she sees it everywhere that people want to come to Alberta. You'll apply once we become a nation, and we will vet you and make sure that you're going to come here to contribute, and then you'll be very welcome to be here. But before we get to that point, you still have the freedom of mobility under the charter, so you can move here. And if you're here, I think by April, you will be eligible to vote on the referendum, because you have to be here, I believe, for 6 months in order to get on the voter registration, and then you'll be able to vote on the referendum. So if you're thinking about moving, you want to support it, go west, as the Pet Shop Boys was it?
Yep, go west. I don't know if they did a cover version, but yes, from our time, it'd be the Pet Shop Boys.
Yep. So yeah, you got that option. And then NDPers, if you want to leave, I don't think there's any pushback on that one. So you can go west or you can go east. You won't go south because you don't like that one at all. And
yeah, if you're not going to stay in Alberta, you're certainly not going to go south.
No. So they're not going to go north either. Too cold. So they're going to go east or west. But that's cool. That's fine. So Danielle Smith was asked about independence, and she said, look, if they get their signatures, there's going to be a referendum in fall. So that's absolutely what we were expecting. If everything goes well, that's the timelines. It would be about October if everything goes well. Now, making this statement is excellent because she's removing any concerns or questions of whether or not her government will stop the petition in its tracks. Now, understand that the change in Bill 14 was to update the Referendum Act to allow the government, after a successful binding referendum, to not implement it if they believe it contravenes the Constitution. We had Mickey Amory on to speak to this, and he said in his eyes, independence referendum does not contravene the Constitution because there's a Supreme Court and the Clarity Act process to do it. So he doesn't see that as being a contravening of the Constitution the same way the court did earlier or late last year. So he said he doesn't intend to see it blocked. But when I asked the Premier herself the same question on the show a few weeks after that, she didn't give me a yes or no. She said, get your signatures and then have me back on and I'll answer that question. She's basically kind of answering the question here by saying, yes, we're going to go ahead and do it in fall, which would be the fast-tracked version of this, which is good. Not going to be delayed till later next year or anything like that. But we'll see what happens after the results. So we'll have her back. It looks like early part of May to go ahead and provide her the number. I'm sure she'll know the number by the time she comes on, and then says, okay, so if this becomes a successful referendum vote, are you going to trigger the constitutional contravening section of the Referendum Act?
That's right.
Right. So Mickey Amory said no, he wouldn't, but the decision is going to lie with the Premier, and I don't think she would. The higher that number is, the likelihood of that happening goes to like zero. I think anything over 60% and it's a done deal. Anything over or close to 50%, like really close to 50%, it becomes maybe a little bit more difficult. But democracy is democracy. 50% plus one is majority. So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, we're looking forward to finding that answer out. So thank you to Rise
Get
of
out
Alberta.
to sign, and then once it's done, people get out to vote.
Yep. So that'll be the big push. So after the signature part is done, it will be what's called the campaign period, where everybody's going to be saying, hey, time to get yourself ready. The no side is going to probably put up billboards and be all over the place. They're going to have media support. The yes side is going to be very grassroots, and we're going to be working hard, continuing to have town halls all over the place. We will register as a third-party advertiser for the referendum, which is a second stage. So we're currently the initial petition. We're registered there, but we'll register for the referendum when that time comes, so we can continue to do our events and be compliant with all of the financial requirements of Elections Alberta.
Yep, we want to dot those I's, cross those T's, make sure we're making life easy for ourselves and Stay Free Alberta, so there's no worry about what we do.
Yep. So Rachel Parker has posted this poll. She calls it a new Echoes poll, but it's actually from September 2025. You'll see the dates at the bottom here. They reposted it on their site along with a whole bunch of other polls. So that's where she grabbed it from. So they've reposted it. But this is from September when support was 41%. So when people are saying you got 20% or 18%, no way. And this number is still low. It's growing. The most important one here is the disagree, 52. 3 more points and we have the win. It's going to be a win. But this number, I can tell you today, is lower because they only do a 2,000 person poll. And we're seeing more and more people saying, this is my first time. I didn't consider it before. I am now considering it, or I am for it. So we're seeing those numbers at every meeting grow. So this is definitely growing right now. It's not going the other way.
Yeah, and thank you to those who are no's or do have questions and take the time to go to these events to get the information. Thanks for being open-minded enough to do that, because some people are not. They're very stuck by saying no, and they don't even want to hear. So for those who even disagree but are still heading out to listen, thank you. That's at least that way I feel comfortable that when you if you don't sign or if you do vote no, I know at least you've made the effort to get some information, then you've made an informed decision.
Yeah, there's going to be about a third or 30% or so that will absolutely not listen to any of the information. They've made up their mind, and that's fine. There's about a third, well, 40%, so 2/5 who've made up their mind that they're going to. So there's that middle group that is being worked with, and they're collecting information. And far more often than not, they're going, okay, I see it now. I get it now. I understand it now. And I'm going to support that. I have not had a single person in our events or meetings where they said, you know what, I've changed my mind. I'm not for it anymore. I have seen a couple people leave events, but just a couple. Like in Calgary, there was over about 5,000 people there. I think it was closer to 5,000 than 4,000. But I think I saw 3 people throughout the entire event walk away during Mitch's presentation, but the rest stayed. So the number of people that are coming out to get information and saying, no, this is not for me, is very small. The ones that are coming out to get information and say, this is for me, those are the larger group for sure.
Yep.
So as we wait for our guest to arrive, I sent him the link. I'm just going to double check to see if he responded. Looks like he hasn't responded.
And Nick, I agree with your comment here. The media is the virus. We know that once the petition gets the green light, we're heading towards a referendum. It's going to be ugly. I think that it's going to be very few, far between, of any legacy media promoting or speaking truth to the movement of for the referendum. So there's a lot we're going to be fighting against. Not only to try and get the truth out there, but the people that do watch mainstream media, they're going to be polluted. We just have to be patient and just make sure we have our facts and the truth available to share with them. I think that's important.
And that's why these meetings, they have takeaways. Take this back to your communities, because this is the way the information gets out now. And the media, some of it has to report on this. But at any time they give you a number, like how many people showed up, add a 0. That's far closer to the truth. They said 500 people showed up in Edmonton. That was closer to 5,000. So just add a 0, and then you'll have a closer to the truth representation there.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so let's go ahead and continue.
Yeah.
So Teen Coffee yesterday with Fergus was a lot of fun. He's from Dublin, right? Is that right? That accent?
Don't even.
Belfast? He's a Texan. I'm pretty sure Texan, right? That was a lot of fun. In fact, last night, this came up quite a bit, this subject. The pension plan, is it a Ponzi scheme? Is it underwater? And he provided the information. He's gone through the documents of the releases and it said, yeah, absolutely, this thing is underwater, $1 trillion in debt. Canadians don't realize it. And then the question was, well, then what do we do as Alberta? Well, then Premier Downing Smith, she's suing the government to get the numbers, to find out how much, who's that pretty lady? To find out how much is owed, how much Alberta owns of that, and to get the process started on potentially bringing that to Alberta itself. That may happen before full independence is reached, but at some point that conversation will happen, whether Danielle Smith brings it forward as part of her mandate, current mandate, or this becomes part of the negotiations under the Clarity Act for us to recover this money. But we'll get there. We'll see. I suspect Canada will never cut a check because they have nothing that backs that money. So they won't. But what it might be used for, and this is just a might, it's an idea in my mind, is if they say, well, you need to take a portion of the debt with you. Well, you actually owe us this amount on the CPP, and then balance it out. So we'll see. We'll see when we get to that stage. I'm strongly believing we will get to that stage. But it was really great to have Fergus on. And yes, we're going to try and plan a tour with him in March as well. So you'll get to meet him in person. I believe it'll be like the Medicine Hat, southeastern region of Alberta. We'll tour with him. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yep. No, it should be good.
And we had a good laugh after the show because, like, oh boy, did you not like my question about his accent? So watch that, folks. I broke Paula a
Oh,
bit. She was
bless you. Bless you. Yeah, and what was it? A friend of ours says, so accents, names, and geography you have issues with.
I'm not AI. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
accents. Maybe I don't have quite the ear for it. All right.
Yeah, same.
So as we move on, because I don't see our guest in our studio yet, so we'll just keep going. So Rise of Alberta, again, a lot of people are pushing the 51st state, pushing. That's not the direction that we're headed at all. This came up last night. Dr. Modry and Mitch himself on the show recently explained the process. If there was to be a 51st state, what would happen and how does it happen? The first thing for the U.S. is you need to be a sovereign nation. So we need to have independence, no matter what. If you're a 51st stater, that has to be the first step. This is under the laws of the U.S. They can't just take a non-sovereign nation or a part of a sovereign nation. That would be annexing. They certainly could include a sovereign nation. So Alberta would have to be sovereign, or the whole of Canada itself would be the one that's on the table. The next part is whether or not the votes will be there. Well, then, sorry, the next part is the sovereign nation needs to have a referendum to ask its people whether or not they want to join the U.S. So once we become sovereign, we could, through a petition, ask that question. And that question has to come back as a yes, it has to be a majority. If that happens, then the next step is on the U.S. side of things to whether or not to accept us as a 51st state. And there's an entire procedure there as well that requires 2/3 of the Senate and 2/3 of the Congress to agree. Now, if Alberta was on its own and there was a push to become the 51st state, the Democrats would say no, because we'd be a red state for sure. It would be very Republican. And as you know, they work really hard to get votes for Democrats. So you wouldn't get Democrat support unless they started to do things like bring in additional territories or regions or districts and make them states as well, like Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico and a couple others, to try to balance things off. Even if you get to that point, you still need to have the political support. And I don't see that happening. I don't see Albertans voting in a referendum to say yes to that. And I don't see the Republicans and Democrats coming to a deal that would allow it to happen too. So this is something that can't happen. It's not like Trump can just snap his finger and say, all right, you're the 51st state. It doesn't work that way. The first thing needs to be a sovereign nation. So we got to get through this referendum in the positive. And then another referendum that says, do you want to join the U.S. as a state? And I don't think there's support for that.
And I personally wouldn't be voting for that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people wouldn't. Some would, but a lot of people wouldn't. But the misconception that the U.S. can just absorb us is not correct. Excuse me.
No, and we've seen the uproar about that with Russia and Ukraine. It's not something that we're meant to do, international law, all that type of thing. But no, that wouldn't be happen. And Orange, and to some, although I know they say Orange Man bad, but really, he's going to do that? No, I don't think so.
He can't. He can't. It just wouldn't happen. Another thing that came up in the meeting last night was, well, once we become sovereign, Canada is going to invade us militarily and try and stop us. I'm like, oh, no. That's not going to happen on many levels. The gentleman pointed to Ottawa as an example of that. It's like, no. There's no deaths. Okay, Canadians are peaceful. Canadians didn't fight back in Ottawa. Nobody died. Yes, they got roughed up. Yes, they got assaulted. Yes, they got injured. Yes, they had what it looked like a military operation, but it wasn't deadly. Okay, we definitely wouldn't have that happen. So if Canada did that, I can't see it happening at all. But if they did that, they would be the Russia and we would be the Ukraine in that situation. We're a sovereign nation being invaded by our ex-partner, our ex-nation. And there's no way politically on any geopolitical stage that Canada would just be allowed to. Another thing to consider is the first trade agreements that we'd be doing would be with the U.S. And the U.S. would defend any of their interests. One of the things that's on the table being discussed would be security for the north, for the U.S., a base, have a military base in the northern part of Alberta. You attack anything that includes a U.S. base, and you're going to have trouble. And a lot of the energy security that the U.S. would want to protect would be coming from Alberta as well. So there is no scenario other than paranoia and ignorance. There is no scenario where Canada would use military force to stop a legal process that was defined by Canada. That makes absolutely no sense at all.
Exactly. If we've gone through the fact of being a sovereign nation because we've gone through the Clarity Act and all, paperwork signed, which is a done deal, why on earth then would Canada physically go to invade or take over? I didn't. Yeah, exactly.
And the last part of my argument there is, have you seen the military of Canada? Like, they are not ready for anything. This is one of the things we've heard over the years. They've been demoralized. A lot of people are gone. If you didn't take the vaccine, you were gone. It's a gutted military. And it's not like I'm trying to poke fun at that at all, because Canada, has some resources, but they wouldn't use that to go and fight a sovereign nation because it went through a legal process that they didn't like. That's just not how this works. Their international partners would be against it. Like NATO would be against it. Everybody would be against it. You can't do that. You just became Russia with Ukraine suddenly. Not a chance. Not a chance. They don't have any of that gutspa to do it. And it's Canadian law that's being followed here. So that'd be a very bad move. And then the comment he pushed back, he goes, "Well, Carney will do whatever he wants." I'm like, no, he won't. Like, he's not as all powerful as you all think. Same thing with Trump. He's not as all powerful. He can't just do what he wants. He's got to work within the law. You may not like the law. They may bend the law. But even something like the Emergencies Act couldn't be invoked here. Because, again, this is a legal process. It would be the Emergencies Act against themselves if they tried to bring up arms, because that is illegal. They can't do that. So, not a chance. That's not on the table. So I quashed that pretty quick. I even said something along the lines like, anybody who's talking about violence is not somebody who represents the people of Alberta. This is a legal, peaceful process, and that's the way it's going to stay. Both sides, completely both sides.
Agreed.
Not a chance that it's going to go any other way.
Absolutely agreed.
All right. So Clyde Do Something here posted, and he says he's astonished to see the behavior of Conservatives in Canada towards Alberta. He should start using the word sovereignist. You'd think they'd be begging them to stay and treat them nice. Instead, we're witnessing an indulgence. No, what is that word there?
Hold on.
Please follow along.
Yeah, sure.
Instead, we're witnessing
indignant. Witnessing an indignance towards
the province that allows them to be a relevant party in the first place. Sad. Clyde, I agree with you on this one for sure. And here's my post. They know what will happen to the party if they lose the most conservative province. Could be why Pierre has already bailed on his Alberta seat, but yeah, they should be using honey instead of vinegar on this one. So they're very similar. They're Federalists talking, and Federalists don't want anything to change because it works for them. This system has been built for them. It works for them. It does exactly what they want. They change power back and forth between the two. They never really go after each other to stop things like going after the fraud or going after the corruption or overspending. Neither side goes after them for that. They have what I call a mutually assured destruction agreement in place, that if one of them went after the other one hard, they could destroy their ability collectively as a uniparty to maintain control. And it would go to a third party like a PPC or some other party that would come up in the vacuum of that. So no, they're not interested in talking nice to sovereignists. They just want to vilify it. They think that will work. It worked in the election to vilify Trump. Both sides were vilifying Trump during that election. And as we saw, the two parties gained more support than any of the third parties. All the third parties dropped in support. NDP, PPC, Green even lost one of their co-leaders. So what we saw was the uniparty gained a lot more traction in the last election, and they're not interested in losing any of that. Now, if
No, they
Alberta
haven't had
left,
different. Go on.
yeah, if Alberta left, that would be a large chunk of Conservative seats. So the Conservative Party specifically is very, very upset
Yes.
about it, because they would lose a lot of seats if that happened. And this could also be why the Conservative side of things on the federal level, they're not in support of it. They're not even supporting in the people, and they're vilifying, because they themselves will lose about 37 MPs from the table when Alberta leaves.
Yep.
And then the last note on this one is we would have no need for Federalist leadership. So everybody who's an MP today, we have no need for you. We're going to deal with ourselves. You could run in the elections if you want, but it's not going to be as a Federalist. It's going to be as a new nation, a Republican under the Republic. And if you want to run, you can run and see if you get yourself voted in. But I don't think Alberta is going to vote in the same people that gave a federal system that didn't work for us and didn't fight for us. I don't think they're going to vote them back in. So this could be why even Alberta MPs are pushing on this one, is because they don't see a future for them in the new nation of Alberta. And that's my speculation. But a lot of people were asking last night, like, is there going to be a vacuum? What happens during this process? Are we all just going to stop having hospitals and schools and all that stuff? I'm like, no. The day will be exactly the same. There will be a transition where certain institutions are dropped, other ones are replaced with people. There's going to be an election, and you're going to vote in the next government. Danielle Smith's government will be the transitional government, and they all can run too. All the MLAs and Danielle herself, they can run in the next election that will happen in the Republic, the first election under the Republic, and we'll end up voting our representatives in. We'll have a Congress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll vote in senators. We'll vote in judges. We'll vote in sheriffs, and we'll have a lot of voting going on during the initial stage of the Republic. But I don't see anybody that's on the federal level getting voted in, specifically because they were part of the system that we just left, and they didn't assist in any way, shape, or form. So I don't see Albertans, citizens of Alberta, voting in any federal level MPs, and this could also be why they're not assisting and they're vilifying. So it looks like our guest isn't going to be showing. So we'll go ahead and continue a little bit longer as we get through the news, and then we'll jump over. Hold on, there's a text. Let me see. Nope.
I just want to highlight something here that Michelle Krieger's brought up. Southeast Saskatchewan viewers, be sure to attend the Prairie Rising Town Hall in Estevan on February 21st. For those in Southeast Saskatchewan, go ahead and check out that event, Prairie Rising.
Yep. So I don't see it. Now, I know he's in Dubai, so maybe he didn't realize the time difference or something when he said yes. I'm sure we'll get that. Oh, I'm so sorry about the time zone issue. Email shortly. It happens.
That happens.
Yep. So we'll keep going here.
Yep.
So the Critical Compass, great guys, James and Mike. They're showing up at all these events, taking some high quality video, doing some great editing, putting things together. So they put together this 11-minute or so segment on the Calgary Town Hall. And by the way, it's not a rally. Anybody that calls it a rally, it's a town hall. And this is for the Big Four. And they do a great job. They went outside, interviewed people. I even believe they have a person here who's not for it and talked to them. So I like this kind of journalism. Good on them. And my message here was, it was so awesome. And Mitch said Edmonton is next. So stay tuned. There's something Mitch said on our show about the next stop. And it looks like he wants to try and get a larger venue in Edmonton than even the Big Four and fill it up.
I think that would happen in Edmonton. I think for sure that would happen.
Yep. Well, the one thing that is holding back some of the numbers is you're preaching to the choir. Like, a lot of the people who are in support of this don't need to go through it again. And a lot of people have already been to a town hall, so they don't show up. So I think that the conversation should start to shift to after the referendum. How does it start to look? Start laying down the groundwork for the Constitutional Convention and what will be done there. Have that as a majority of the conversation, is how do we take the next steps after the referendum? because a lot of the conversation at these events are still about why should you vote. Now let's start talking about the how, okay?
Yeah.
Because we're going to get the petition number, so that referendum's coming. Now people want to be equipped with, well, what happens on day 2 after the referendum's done? What happens? So I'd like to see some of these conversations change to that, because you'll get back all the people that went to town halls before to hear about the why, and they would now want to hear about the how. I think we're at that stage now. And this is something we're doing on our tour. A lot of the conversations about the how, and also how you bring that message to your neighbors and loved ones and coworkers. Because people are now, they're past whether or not there's going to be a referendum. There's going to be a referendum. Now let's start looking at, well, what happens after the referendum.
Yeah, there's going to be a referendum, people. There's going to be a referendum. I completely agree, but let's still strive for Mitch's million. Oh yeah,
Mitch's million for sure. Oh yeah, there will be a referendum, and that's what, a Dutch accent.
Oh my goodness. Move on.
Move on.
Bless you, sweet.
Oh, bless
Brother T, by the way, in our locals chat says, well, Jason, at least you're tall. You got some stuff going for you.
I'm not very dark, as you can see. So,
no.
and handsome is in the eye of the beholder. So,
yeah, well,
that's true.
That may be true, but I like beholding you. So,
no, so tall and handsome, not so dark. I can turn red.
No,
you met me when I turned red. I turned red pretty good.
Yeah, you had wicked sunburn on you.
It took a long time to go away too. Yeah, I had the wife beater shadows on my shoulders for a while.
And I have to say, I've never heard that phrase before until coming to Canada. To me, it's a white vest. I didn't know it went by any other name. And then you start talking about wife beater, like, oh my God, what a name to be calling your vest.
No, they call it a wife beater here. Everybody that, when I say it, it's just like bunny hug in Saskatchewan. They know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're like, yeah, absolutely. I know what you're talking about. Wife beater is the term for that shirt, or vest, as you call it. We definitely don't call it a vest. Okay, out here, that's not a vest.
Yes, white vest.
Undershirt would be closer to what somebody may call it here, but it's not a vest. Yeah. All right, and then we talked about the Sean Hartman. What's that?
I said, morning, Martin. He just popped in the chat.
Martin, why are you late? You're on Easter time.
Why are you late?
You're on Easter time. We'll be seeing Martin on the 8th, maybe even the 7th, as I fly out there. But yeah, looking forward to that. All right, and then again with the Sean Hartman story, it is getting a lot of attention globally now. As we saw, Belfast has reached out for showing all over the U.S. We keep getting requests for showing it. Now we're getting a bunch out of Quebec. So I think people are watching Nico's show.
Interesting.
Yep. And we're going to be on 2 shows today. So Truth Talk. I don't know if it's live or they push it out right away. And then Ken Drysdale's talk, a group this evening. The Ken Drysdale one, I'm going to try and be on it for as long as I can, probably from the vehicle right before I enter the event, because that's kind of the timing on that. But yeah, looking forward to having a conversation and getting some more people at these events so you can check out our documentary.
Great.
All right, so it looks like we have a time zone issue because our guest didn't show up. It happens. This is episode number 105, and this will be the second time it happened, so not bad.
Yeah, but at least we got to catch up on some of the news, which is always good.
Yeah.
And we've got
any comment?
No, we have Tank Top, and then Farmer's Tan.
No, it's not Tank Top. No, a tank top is something that it's got sleeves. Tank tops have a sleeve.
No, well, for my definition, no. I would agree with Kim. Tank top doesn't have sleeves.
Let me look this up.
Google.
Yeah, you're getting there, but it's got a lot more. From the pictures I'm seeing, it's got a lot more fabric on the shoulders.
Yeah, like a tank top, you'd wear it out. The vest, they're a little bit skinny, not spaghetti straps, but they'd be slightly skinnier. But they're men's, like it says, an undershirt. But that one specifically, to me, is a vest because it's sleeveless.
I'm just gonna pull up. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Let's bring this up. Let me see if I can open up another browser here. You laugh.
Conversation to bring up, debates to be had.
We're
What is
solving
the
world
definition
problems right now.
of a vest?
Yeah. So we'll get David booked again another time.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So we'll reschedule or reschedule. But yeah, I've never said schedule that way.
That one. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. So tank top is close.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Close, but these are for outerwear, like you say. Wife beater.
Be careful when you Google that.
Oh, look, wife beater tank top is what they're calling it. Okay, so a lot closer to what I was wearing. Yeah, yeah. Fruit of the Loom free tank a shirt. Men's tag free tank a shirt. Undershirt for sure. Tank top muscle shirt. Yeah,
and then
muscle
Kim,
shirt.
Do they sell them in the store as wife beaters?
Well, I don't want to do wife beater just
Go
a
to
term.
Walmart and ask,
It comes up wife beater. But yeah, so there's a lot of terms for it. But this is what I was wearing. I was wearing one of these, and I had a nice sunburn going. I didn't have the muscles.
All on your back, the back of your neck. Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, I lobstered pretty good. You didn't seem to mind.
Yeah, moved on.
Nope. All right, so we're getting there. Tank top, certainly not vest. Let me put that one to bed for you.
Yeah, there you go. Men's white vest, and go see that. Google that, and then you'll see. I think the same images should come up. Just maybe with a
Why does that have to be white?
.uk.
Why does it have to be white? Google. Sorry, you gotta.
Oh, there was. For any of my people who grew up in England in the 80s, there was a show. It was Scottish. It was called Ramsay Nesbitt, and he used to walk around in a white vest, but it was the stringed, the netted white vest. That was not a good show.
So Amazon.ca brought something up. White vest. But this is what comes to mind for Canadians, stuff like this.
Yeah, like a jacket vest, sure, but I know it is the
well, look at this all over here. They're bringing it up like that too.
Yeah.
This is what most Canadians will think about this, a white vest, but not this.
Yeah.
Help me out in the chat. When she says white vest, are you thinking about this? Or are you thinking about this? Give a thumbs up if it's this one. Give a heart if it's this one.
Yeah. And then, Trailer Park Boys vibes. Exactly, Kim. I agree. Anytime men are just strutting around in
I got to show everybody what the vehicle I was driving was. Yeah.
Yes. The car you had at the time. Google that.
There you go. There's a Beetle.
Yes, the nerds on site. I wonder if in Ontarians, are they still around? Last time we were in Ontario, they're still.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're just Ontario, but yeah, that's what I was driving. I have my name in the window, and and you said, yeah, cool, I'll sit in there.
Yep.
Yeah, no problem. Funny. Drove that around for a while until I left them, did other things, and eventually sold the car.
Yeah, and last time we were in Ontario, or maybe not the last time, maybe time before that. But yeah, I remember seeing the nerds on site driving around because we told the boys, hey, your dad had one of those.
Yeah, I did good at it. I hit the top of the sales in my first month. The second month, I was on top again. They wanted me to train everybody on how to do it. The only thing I did was I just charged for everything I did. Other people they didn't do that. They're like, okay, I'll just do this and then I'll do everything else for free. No, value your time. But they wanted me, and ironically, because that's the method I use is value your time. They wanted me to teach everybody for free, and then it takes away my time for making money. I'm like, what? Like, if you're willing to compensate me for my time so that I continue to have my income, I'll gladly teach everybody. Like, no, we want you to do that for free. No, sorry about that. I value my time, and that's kind of how I got to where I'm at. So, but you can make a good living doing that. You run around to people's places, fixing things, a lot of hard drives and installing this and cameras and routers and modems. And, back in the day, that was the early 2000s. So that would have been like 2000, 5, I was doing that.
Yeah, and that's what my nickname for me even to today is still nerd.
Yeah.
Not geek. There's a difference.
Nope, there's a
You're a nerd.
difference. There's a difference. Big difference. Don't call me a geek. I'm not a geek. I'm a nerd. And just for the people watching, the biggest difference there is how you use your intelligence. A geek will use their intelligence to entertain themselves. So they'll be very excited about things like Dungeons and Dragons and Star Trek and Star Wars, and they
Comic
get
books,
really,
all that
really into it. Yeah, yeah. And look, I'm not bashing it. That doesn't interest me at all. A nerd will use it for employment and for making income. So, yeah, to me, that's the difference. It's what you use the intelligence for. Is it for entertaining yourself, or is it for working on stuff? So you find a lot of nerds, like scientists and stuff like that. They're nerds. They're inventors, they're creators, they're builders. And in my case, entrepreneur as well. A lot of tech building that we did. And I'm proud to be a nerd.
Yeah. Yeah, you're my nerd.
I'm your nerd. All right, we'll say goodbye to the public. Sorry, folks, about David Nightleg. You got stuck with us. We did the news with you. Got all the way to the end of my feed on that one. Make sure you give us a follow, a like, a subscribe. There you go. She had the button ready. So the Levine Show. Yeah, you can go to levineshow.com. Okay, if you're already watching right now, you found it on your favorite platform, but make sure you do that. But you can go to levineshow.com if you want to become a member and join us on our local supporter side of things, where we're going to go right now. And there are some benefits there. We do have a continued conversation. There's a private chat that goes on that Paula gets to watch and giggle at. And when we have a guest, we bring them over there and ask some more questions. And when we do events, we will make sure that our supporters are aware of it. And sometimes they get access to things that it's not for the public right now. So you can do that on thelevineshow.com.
Yeah, and if you want to keep joining us for debates on language, go ahead and you can join us. That'd be wonderful. But otherwise, everyone, thank you for joining us. Thanks to the new members who signed up from yesterday. Good to see you. And everyone have a great day and see you tomorrow morning. Bye from me.
Love you all very much. Thanks for being here with us today, and God bless.